Let's go! The college football early signing period. Today I'm going to give you the SEC's biggest winners and losers. And at the end, the one school that took the absolute fattest L of them all. So let's get to it. Starting off here with, of course, the normals, Alabama and Georgia. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Once again, they'll recruit 1-2. Alabama number 1, Georgia number 2. That means that, well, that is a national championship level recruiting class. I'm going to put Alabama a little bit ahead of Georgia, not only in the rankings, but what they did here at the end, getting Proctor to flip, get the 5-star rusher to stay home. That's obviously really good stuff from them, but Kirby, of course, keeping the train moving there. So that is a pretty easy winner. Let's get to our first loser. Boom, I'm looking at you. I know you've already hit the subscribe button. Because we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. I know there's not a whole lot of fancy graphics. I'm just showing you the raw recruiting ranking. I'm going to explain why at the end I'm not showing you any players for a certain reason. The first loser, I got to start off here with Missouri. Not a good day for Elijah Drinkowitz. And just for the record, I am just focusing on high school commitments. This is the first time since 2000, since 2020, that Missouri did not land a top 7 player in their state. That is not good. Missouri, for them to win, you have to keep the guys that are actually good in Missouri, and there's not a whole lot of elite recruits that come out of there. You have to try and keep them in state. I know it's a tall uphill climb. Missouri, just based on their recruiting ranking, if they go 6-6 every year and go to a bowl, that means Elijah Drinkowitz is doing a good job. I thought that this class was going to be better. I love me some Blake Baker. I've always shared that just wherever I am. But the truth is, going from 18th to 33 is just not acceptable, especially considering that they did end the season on a high note. Winner number 2 is the Tennessee Volunteers. I mean, from start to finish, I was really impressed. You know, you take a look a few years ago, they were the number 20th ranked class. 2021, they were number 15, and now they are number 12. That is impressive stuff, and I kept hearing that Josh Heupel's not an elite recruiter. Obviously, still a while to go to get in that top 5 region, but can Tennessee actually get there at some point? I don't know, but if you keep winning big, winning leads to more success. I know the Nico 5-star quarterback. I love him. I know that deal was done before this season actually began, but still there was a lot more work that needed to be done, and obviously getting up to that number 12 ranking was really freaking good. Keep in mind, Tennessee is not a state loaded with talent. I think they only had maybe 1 or 2 top 100 guys. That honestly is pretty impressive stuff from Coach Heupel, Tim Banks, and that staff. So give Tennessee a lot of credit. I think today was a W for them. A loser here for me has got to be Ole Miss. I mean, going from 19th to 32nd, the come to the SIP thing, I thought that was actually going to catch stride. Once again, Ole Miss, an uphill climb, but only 11 commits. That's honestly a very low number. And Lane today doing the thing that he did today where he retweeted something because a player flipped from his class to Maryland. And look, I love Lane antics. I know it's very interesting. I know it adds extra spice to this recruiting cycle. And it was funny. Everyone laughed at it. But Ole Miss fans, I would not be thrilled by that. That is an easy negative recruiting tactic. That is easy for other coaches to say, look, he doesn't give a flip about you. He'll crap on you if you decide to go elsewhere. I thought that was not really all that smart. Another school I really liked today was South Carolina. You know, you jump from 28th to 17th. Cool. That is big, honestly. That shows me some positive momentum from those final 2 victories. But every day, Shane Beamer just continues to exceed expectations at South Carolina. And I think the most interesting thing is if you look at, I think it's 5-ish of their top 8 guys are line players. Where they needed the most help was on the lines, and they addressed absolutely massive needs. And I do think the lines, Bud Davis, a really good analytics account, has done a lot of good work on this. I think the lines are harder to find transfer portal talent, and if you get them straight out of high school, the better off you are. And I think all those guys will have opportunities to get immediate playing time, especially Xavier McLeod. But overall, going from 28th to 17th, no doubt a big W for him. And another big W is Florida, going from 20th to 10th. I know 10th is where Florida normally is historically, so basically they're getting what they needed to get done. Billy did a really good job, though, getting a bunch of guys to sign. Obviously, 2024 DJ Lagway is going to be a big one for them, but getting Jaden Rashada was huge as well. Getting elite quarterbacks is always a good thing. And look, look, I thought Billy did a good job getting some good 4-star linemen as well. So kudos to Billy Napier in his first full recruiting class. And that honestly was one of the big thing that Billy Napier, one of the big positives was Billy Napier can recruit. He knows how to do that aspect of this. And in his first full year in the SEC, he did a pretty solid job. One school that was a Debbie Downer for me was Arkansas. I just... Man, it was rough. They lose their best recruit to Texas A&M. And look, a lot of turmoil at Arkansas. We'll see what these new coaching hires bring to the table. But, man, whether it be the portal and all of that, just not a good couple of months here for Sam Pittman. And I thought Arkansas was honestly going to do better. They did a lot of good early work. Malachi Singleton's a very interesting quarterback. But, man, lots of work to be done for Arkansas in the portal. Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. It is time for the biggest winners and the biggest loser. And before you do that, obviously hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. The biggest winner of them all today was Auburn. Where they were a few weeks ago to where they were now, I know 16th is kind of sort of where Auburn is normally recruiting. Obviously, they've been closer to the top 10 in years past, but 16th is really good considering, once again, where they were a few weeks ago. Give a very controversial figure, Hugh Freeze, a lot of credit. He's made some really good coordinator hires. He's made some really good in-staff hires that are really well respected throughout the SEC. And 16th is honestly fine from where they were just a few weeks ago. So for me, I've got to agree with my guy Aaron Torres, a national college football and college basketball commentator. I got to give Hugh Freeze a lot of credit for getting this class to where it is now. And now we get to the biggest loser, and I want this to be known, right? I am going to be always labeled as a Texas A&M hater, and I get it, right? I know before the season, I did tell you something very important, that Jimbo Fisher was in over his head for the 2022 season. I told you to go hammer the under 9 win total. I told you that they would not finish any better than third in the SEC West, and they finished last. And this is quite honestly one of the biggest recruiting failures I can remember. This proved a lot of people right regarding the NIL and the 5 stars and the culture and all of that. All of that came to fruition today. It's not the absolute end of the world. It's just how far off they fell from last year. It does deserve not only mentioning, but it does deserve amplification. What exactly happened from last year to now? Could it be that a lot of recruits didn't want to come because Texas A&M lost a lot? That could be it. There could be a lot of different factors at play here. What I will say, though, is a lot of those A&M players from last year are currently in the portal right now. That is a sign of cultural rot. That is a sign of a program that was in over its head last year. And honestly, there are bigger problems than just recruiting right now for Texas A&M. So once again, 15th is a very respectable ranking. If Texas A&M had the 15th ranked class 5 years ago, 10 years ago, everybody in College Station would be very happy. But if you are a Texas A&M fan today, you know how big of a failure and red flag this actually is. The truth about recruiting, and the reason why I'm only showing you the national rankings, is that the national rankings tell the true story of college football. Yes, of course, teams that are ranked where they are right now don't always finish ranked nationally where they are at the end of the season, if that makes sense. Because, well, let's be honest, the SEC is the king of recruiting, and there are so many schools in the top 20, top 30, top 10 that are from the SEC that you guys know that's where all the talent normally goes. So, even if that is the case, team recruiting rankings oftentimes tell the story of how your program is going to go. And that's why it is very important to just focus on the team ranking. It is oftentimes impossible to pick which individual players will turn out to be studs. There are so many different factors on field, off field, injuries, so on and so on. But the tried and true method to determine how good of a program you're going to be is going to often be just your final ranking. I understand 5 stars, 4 star, 3 stars. They're not always correct. You don't have to give me the J.J. Watt, Russell Wilson, Justin Jefferson comments down below. Those guys are absolutely studs, and they all outperformed their recruiting ranking, not only in college but in the NFL. But historically, the elite recruits, in particular the top 100 recruits, are going to tell you who's going to get drafted and which teams are actually going to win. Unless, of course, you're Jimbo Fisher and you run a very outdated offense and you tank the momentum of your program. But outside of extreme measures such as that, it's going to tell you who the elite teams are. And that's why I did this video today, because I wanted to show you relative to where they were last year to where they are now. It paints a picture that's not really that good for some of these teams, and other teams, they are trending in the right direction. Now, I know we didn't get to every single team in the SEC today, so comment down below who you think your big winner and loser was today from the early signing period. It is Power Hour SEC, baby. Boom! And tonight we're doing chicken quesadillas. Let's go!